Hey, welcome to Angling with Arlie. Here painting up some jig heads today, some 132nds, number 4 gold hook on them. So this is kind of my little setup here. I run a heat gun, Harbor Freight heat gun, runs you about 10-15 bucks. I use the fluid beds, run right off your little air compressor air bubbler for your fish tanks. I just use one of them. Got a control valve on it so I can control the airflow that's coming into my powder. I just want my powder just to kind of, flow around in there. I don't want it bubbling out. Just kind of like water, just kind of keeping it rolling. Evenly coats your jig head. Yeah. Turn her on. I normally turn it on low. This morning the basement seems to be a little bit on the cold side, so I found that I'm having to run my heat just a little bit warmer to get a good coat on my jig head. So I use forceps, hook my jig head right on the end of it. I know we're kind of different in the distance. Everybody kind of knows what a jig head looks like. So I just kind of stick it over my heat, roll it around 3 or 4 times, maybe 10 seconds. You don't want to go too long. You'll just melt the jig head right off, the lead right off the hook, and it'll drop down into your heat source and pretty much ruin it. If you take a good look at your jig, you'll see it get nice and shiny. Might get a little bit of red to it. If it's getting red, you're getting too hot. Just make a single dip, kind of tap on it a few times. I like to look it over, make sure there's no spots on there that, it ain't missing, where maybe I didn't get the hook, the lead head hot enough in order for it, the paint to adhere to it. I dip it all down in there. As you can see, the eyelet, it's not fully closed, but it doesn't matter. I'm gonna take these out. I got my oven right here. I'll show you my oven a little bit. I've already got about a dozen of them done or so. I just hang them up and let them sit and dry for a bit. Then once they're done, I'll get one that's been done here for a little bit. Just like out on the water, you sometimes buy jig heads from, say, Walmart or something, and the eyelet's closed up. So, as you can see, that eyelet is open a little bit. I just get another jig head, dude. I just shove the old hook in there, open it fully up. Blow it out. What you also can do is take your little X-Acto knife, just scrape right over it. And it's not necessary. It ain't gonna hurt nothing for the paint to be on there. The only downfall of doing it this way, guys, is you don't want to leave any paint in there because it'll break your line. So you got to make sure you clean the line, clean the eyelet out pretty good. Once you throw that in that oven, that paint's on there. It's not coming off. I know some people use a clear coat. I don't. I use the pro-Tec powder paint, and it seems to do a wonderful job for me. It's always nice and shiny. It's hard. Oh yeah, looks wonderful. that's kind of how I do it. Come up with a nice jig. Some people ask, why do you paint your jigs? Well, you go to Walmart. I shouldn't even be putting them names out there, but you go to the store-bought and kind, and you spend, say, $2 for 10 of them. Well, I get 100 of them. It used to be $15. They went up this year, $2. So now I'm spending $17 on 100, which is from our local bait shop. The old boy in there does it. I can turn that down for a minute. Our old boy at the bait shop, he pours his own jigs. I go in there and buy them from him. Casey's Bait and Tackle here in Des Moines, Iowa. The old boy's been in business for, I have no idea how many years, but he's been there, I know, since I was a kid. So I'm going to support him. Like he tell you, it's not a business, it's a hobby. So it's definitely a hobby. Today I'm just using pro-Tec though. It's all I ever use, pro-Tec. I got some pink. I got all kinds of colors. I do have a bottle of Seal Coat. I one of these days try it. I've never dipped a jig in it. I got white. Yeah, I got all kinds of colors, guys. I got our, your basic, what we all like to use as far as that goes. Here's some Super Glow Blue. I even got Glow. I mean, a bottle of that stuff, the price even on it, I think they're only like $4 or $5 for that big bottle. That big bottle will last you for God knows how long. I mean, you could paint thousands of jigs with it. You don't have to, yeah. But I'm going to do, I got 100 of them here. I'm going to do them all in chartreuse, and then I'm going to jump over to white and paint them all in white today. And I'm going to swing out to a hobby store, and I'm going to get some blue paint and red paint. And I'm going to do some jigs in the Wonder Bread also. A lot of us use the Wonder Bread on the ice. So I thought, why not use it in the open water? So I'm gonna paint up 100 of them and share them with a few of my friends and family, and see how they do with them. But like I said, here's my heat gun. Got it right at Harbor Freight, 10 or 15 bucks. I don't think I paid much more for it. If your area that you're doing it in, you could do it on low, but it seems like my basement's a little bit on the chilly side this morning, so I've had to turn my heat up to high. Just pay attention to your jig as you're heating it up. You don't want it falling off the hook, the lead falling off the hook and dropping down into your heat gun, because it'll burn it up. Kind of the last thing I want to do right now with sitting here with probably about 400 jigs. So I'd kind of like to get them done this week, get them ready. We're losing ice here in Des Moines, Iowa. I would say by the end of the week, Des Moines will be pretty much all open water. So got excited to get back out the open water area. If you have noticed, right up here, Dangling with Arlie, I know it's probably backwards to you. Jump over to my page and join, man. We do a lot of events for kids, families. I provide fishing poles for them, bait. We'll have little cookouts and maybe hot dogs and chips and juice boxes for the kids. And then during the summer, we do a big ice fishing event for the veterans up at Clear Lake, Iowa. So, yeah, jump on, man. Let's get back to painting jigs. Got them in the forcep. We're going to warm her up and dip her in the powder. You don't want to hold that jig just in one spot. You want to keep it turning, keep that heat moving. I'm probably 4 inches above the heat gun right now. I don't want to get too darn close. I mean, it's hot right where I'm at. Yeah, looks good. Perfect heat. That's simple, guys. That's simple. If you can find the jigs, or whether you pour your own jigs or not, I mean, ain't nothing to it. You know, kind of makes you feel good to go out and catch fish on them painted jigs that you painted, you know. Another YouTuber jumping in my video there. Wasn't able to see exactly who it was, but I just got no notification that they landed another video out there for me to watch. I watch a lot of YouTube guys, local guys right here in Des Moines, Iowa. I always look it over, give it a good look before I take it off the forcep. Make sure that everything is up to par. Ain't no, little bubbles on it, or maybe the paint didn't get on there very well. If you don't get it painted properly, it'll just chip away at you as you're tossing them, banging them off logs. Everybody says rocks, but I find my crappie in the trees. That's kind of what I'm doing, I lost a lot of jigs last year chasing crappie in the trees. I just soon cut my line and pull on my rod and try to pull it out and stretching my line. That ain't no good. Don't go grabbing it too soon. Let that hook cool down. Ain't nothing worse than burning them 2 little fingers. But after I'm done painting them, I just hang them in my oven. Once I get 100 of them done, I can get 100 jigs inside my oven pretty easy. It's just one of the little small pizza ovens that I use. We'll talk about the oven a little bit. This is what I bake mine in, is my little pizza oven. In fact, it's a Black & Decker pizza oven. 350 degrees, 15 to 18 minutes. Some people say 20. Come on, let's go in the middle. 15 to 18 minutes long. I highly suggest to get a thermostat, a heat thermostat that you can hang in there just to double check your oven, because you can turn that at 350 and that thing be getting all the way up to 375, or maybe it's only getting up to 3 1/4. So definitely put your thermostat in there so you know that you're setting at the 350. You want that powder paint to be rock hard on there, so double check that. But yeah, 350 to 15 to 18 minutes in the oven. Your dinger goes off. You'd open up that door. Let that cool air get in there. Cool that jig down. You don't want to leave the door open, or don't want to leave the door closed, because that heat's just going to stay in there and they're going to bake longer and longer and longer. And what's going to eventually happen is it's going to overbake and then the paint's just going to crack. So as soon as your dinger goes off, open that door, let that heat escape. Get it out of there. Let's get another one heated up here, guys. Yeah. You just got to keep a good eye on your jig here. You know, and just get her heated up. You don't want it over hot because your paint will just roll right off the lead. I just turn her back and forwards. Heat her up good. Dip her down in my fluid bed. Tap on it a couple times. I look it over. Make sure everything's well coated. Looks great. I'll hold off for a second. No sense in burning my fingers, correct? Pop her off. And I make sure I don't touch the painted area. And now I hang her down here in the oven. Give me a good 100 of them done. Like I said, then we'll bake them. 350 to 15 to 18 minutes long, guys. 350. Let's get another one going here. I like to catch crappie, guys. Crappie's my #1 fish to chase during the summer, spring. Not as much in the heat. It starts getting up to, 90 degrees. I normally, that's actually good catfishing weather. Yeah, that looks good too. My fluid bed. I don't think I even talked really much about my fluid bed. Let me shut this heat off for a minute. My fluid bed is just made of PVC, guys. I think it's 2-inch, if I'm not mistaken, 2-inch PVC. It's run off an air, aqua air, what you put on your fish tank, just small little air compressor. Then I put a valve down in the bottom of it. So when I don't know if we can, I don't want to move my phone. This is the valve. I'm able to control how much air is coming up into my PVC. And as you see, it's got 2 pieces to it. We'll do this. I have a base on it. I need to be careful because that's got powder in it. It has a solid base on the bottom of it. Then I put the 2-inch piece here. It's probably 4 or 5 inches tall. Then the next one is a little smaller. I slide it down inside. But when I slide these 2 pieces together here, I took a piece of, and they are not glued. I can take them apart. As I'm pushing the top PVC down into the bottom channel, there's a piece of grocery sack, the paper grocery sack, the brown one. I cut a piece and laid in there, and as I push it down, that's my filter to keep my powder in the upper section. They work great. Air is able to go up through that paper sack and keep a good little flow. You want your powder to roll inside the can, inside the cup. If it's just sitting still, dude, I mean, you can still do it that way, but I would highly suggest to make a fluid bed. Google it. They're simple. They're cheap. I might have 20 bucks in mine, and I've got 2 of them right here. In fact, I think I gave my boy 2 other ones I had built. And you ain't got to go expensive. Really, you don't. It doesn't take much to build one of these. But you just want your powder paint to be moving as you're sticking that hot jig in there, versus just something that's sitting there and you push it down in there and then your powder paint's that thick, on your jig, when you really want it thin. You don't want it thick. The reason for that too is, if you are getting so much paint on there, you wouldn't think that it would really make a lot of difference, but it will. The thicker that paint is on there, the heavier your jig's gonna be. Okay, think about it. So I kind of like to keep mine thin. 1/32 is that's all I run, is 1/32. Gold hook, a number 4 gold hook is all I run. But yeah, I want my paint to be thin on there. It's gonna be rock hard. I mean, this powder paint, you powder coat anything and it's rock hard. And I just stand the old jig right up in the forceps and heat her up and get her done. Let's do one more, guys, and then I'm gonna cut this video down. I don't do a lot of editing, but once again, join my page, guys. Join my page. Heating her up on the heat gun now. Now 3 or 4 turns, maybe 5 or 6. Just want that bed to get heated up. You don't want it so hot that it falls off the hook. Got to keep a good eye on it. Little dip, little tap. See, that one there, I can see on one side of the jig here, I didn't get it quite hot enough. Easy fix. Right back over the heat. Kind of roll it around on that heat. Closed it right up. That's simple. Just closed it right up. The only problem with that is if you do that, you close up your eyelet too. And then powder paint can be tough to clean out. But if you just get it while it's still hot, it's pretty darn simple. There we go. Another chartreuse jig getting ready to hit the water, guys. Gotta get stocked up, man. Open water is just about here. What are we running? 23 minutes. I kind of like to keep my videos right at 30 minutes. The same podcast as the YouTube. That's the way I put my jig on there. Just like that. Keep her going. Got 300 of these to do, guys. Use some chartreuse, some orange, and the last ones will be white with red and blue dots on it. Make that Wonder Bread. They're not a very big jig head, so the dots will have to definitely be small. Yeah, see? One spot on the back there. There we go, she closed up. And once again, closed up the eyelet. Time you warm them back up, You can guarantee you're going to close up that eyelet. There we go. It's as good as new. Better than store-bought. I can guarantee you that. Better than store-bought. Definitely hit the subscribe button, guys, and notifications. Get notifications when I do throw down another YouTube. I don't do a whole lot of them, but they can be useful when I do them. Mountain Dew. I guarantee you're always going to catch me drinking a Mountain Dew when I'm pouring jigs, when I'm fishing, whatever I'm doing. The Mountain Dew. Thanks for following along, guys. Have a great day.